Hi guys, this is Jim, the life coach. I've been looking up an article today. It's about the LGBT Teaching Row. There's a number of primary schools that are going to introduce LGBT teaching and the awareness of same-sex couple relationships. And in particular, there's a school in Birmingham that we're going to talk about right now. I've seen a video of a man that came to a primary school where he says, he talks about he's wearing a dress, and he says to the kids that are there, if you're a young man and you feel like wearing a dress, don't be afraid not to. And the young boys look at each other quite confused. Some, don't know how to really react to that information. And so basically this article is about stuff like that coming into primary schools. So yeah, we're gonna read the article, and then we can see how we get to where we get to at the end. All right. So this is called LGBT Teaching Row. Government too slow to tackle protests. All right. The government was too slow to respond to mob protests over LGBT teaching outside Birmingham schools, according to the woman tasked with challenging extremism. Sarah Khan told the BBC's Panorama more support should be given to head teachers dealing with demonstrations. Ms. Khan was appointed by the Home Secretary to lead the Commission for Countering Extremism. She said the Department for Education could have done so much more. I think they were too slow to respond, said Ms. Khan. There's a lot of confusion about what's actually being taught, and I think the DFE could have played a more important role in clarifying to parents this is what's actually being taught, not the misinformation that we're seeing out here. Protests began at Parkfield Community School, where most pupils are Muslim. In February, parents called for an end to the use of storybooks featuring same-sex couples as a part of a program teaching about equality. All right, so most of the kids there are Muslim, so maybe the reason why they're not very happy. Protesters chanted "Our children, our choice," arguing their religion did not accept homosexuality. Weeks later, the school suspended its No Outsiders program to consult with parents. Protests were also held at Anderton Park Primary School in Birmingham. Campaigners said homosexuality was morally wrong and it was inappropriate to teach young children about same-sex relationships. The schools, however, said they were teaching children about diversity in society and all groups covered by the Equality Act. From September 2020, and this is very important to hear this, from September 2020, it will be compulsory to teach relationships education for primary age pupils and relationships and sex education, okay, for secondary age pupils, all right? From September 2020, it will be compulsory to teach relationships education for primary age pupils and relationships and sex education for secondary age pupils, all right? They'll be called RSE, all right? So, as much as they want to be, they say, they want to have a consultation with parents, it's going to be compulsory from 2020. The government says it wants primary schools to teach children about same-sex relationships. But as for the rest of the curriculum, it will be up to them to decide when it was age appropriate. Okay? Age appropriate. So if you feel that your child is, say 13, but isn't age appropriate, are they going to allow you to do that? Are they going to allow you to say no? We'll see. The guidance for schools also says teaching should be with respect to the backgrounds and beliefs of pupils and parents, even though we just read that it's compulsory for everything to come in, all right? The government has said parents should be consulted about what was taught, but they would not have a veto. Okay? You cannot veto. You cannot say, no, I don't want my child to learn this thing. Okay? They're going to learn it no matter what. So you can say what parts of it you might not want them to learn, but you can't say, basically can't take your child out of it. Yeah? How do you feel about that? Education Secretary Damien Hines told the BBC, "We want children to grow up understanding that some people are different. Some relationships are different from what they may have experienced, but all are valuable. We trust individual schools, individual head teachers to know their cohorts of children and to determine how and when to address what can be obviously sensitive subjects." Panorama has learned Parkfield Community School believed it was getting a very different message and that it felt under pressure from the Department of Education to suspend its equality program to get the school out of the news. A letter being seen by the program from the school to the DFE official suggested the DFE would like us to stop our teaching of equality to make this issue disappear. It also quoted the department official saying, "Our top priority is that Parkfield School is no longer on the national news." The DFE said it did not accept pressure was applied to stop teaching about equality at Parkfield. It said any suggestion the dispute should be kept out of the media was not intended to silence the school, but to bring an end to the protest and encourage consultation. Meaning they knew that people were going to start rebelling against what they were trying to bring to what was going on, basically, bring to the schools. Yeah? Now, I'm not saying you're wrong or they're right, but when you say to people that you have no choice to do something, people are going to rebel. It's very simple. The National Association of Head Teachers, NAHT, said the suspension of the program made the situation worse. It gave almost license to people in communities that actually, if they turned up outside of a school with loud hailers and protest, that other schools would back down too, said Rob Kelso, National Secretary of the NAHT. I think that was a fatal mistake. Other schools were also seeing a pushback from parents and campaigners, he added. We're seeing cases being referred almost on a weekly basis now. Over 70 schools where these issues have been raised directly. Letters being sent to school leaders asking the school to stop teaching relationship education. Threats to withdraw their children through to organised rallies and events. That's what you get when people don't have a say. Human rights and LGBT activist Peter Tatchell said he thought the protesters were declaring war on the LGBT kids. They're saying that these kids should not get love and support and advice from their school, he added. Okay, so he feels that if they're not being taught it in school, that the LGBT kids that are in the school will not get support because they're not talking about it. In some ways you can see where he's coming from. In other ways, I don't think that's really the issue. But it depends where you stand, to be honest. So anyway, Panorama has spoken to other religious groups around the country which said they had been energized by the protests in Birmingham and were looking to build campaigns of their own. Pauline Gallagher, lives just outside Glasgow and has set up a group called Catholic Family Voice. Okay, Catholic Family Voice. She has been impressed by the protesters in Birmingham and says she hoped to join forces with those involved. The Muslim community in Birmingham are total stars as far as we are concerned, and they are all trailblazers, she said. We are encouraged by what we see. I would say we're excited. Other groups have been taking their message directly to the school gates. Susan Mason has been actively leafleting schools. I'm aiming to disrupt essentially, she said. I'm not wanting riots and protests outside schools, but either the parents need to be satisfied or the school need to change what it's doing. See that now? I'm aiming to disrupt the status quo, okay? I'm not wanting riots and protests outside schools, but either the parents need to be satisfied, you hear that, people power, or the school will need to change what it's doing. Wow. Judith Nemeth runs the Values Foundation set up last year to promote the views of faith and traditional family values in education. There's no way that people of faith will teach it's okay to be gay, she said. They won't, because the Bible tells us it isn't okay to be gay. But that doesn't mean that we are intolerant of people who do follow the lifestyle. Nobody's being judgmental here. Nobody's being homophobic. Okay? So, from that last statement, to be honest, the whole thing about it is not to be intolerant to different people's lifestyle. Okay? Can't judge people by what they do. Okay? We shouldn't do. Okay? People have done it. I've done it before. But, as you grow older, you kind of go, you know what, let them do what they're doing. And they don't come to me with certain things. Let them do what they're doing. I can't pressure me to be saying I must do what they're doing because I've got my own mind. But, if you have a kid, do you want them to have LGBT education? Do you mind? Do you care? Is it a big thing? Is it just about learning about life itself? because we live in a world where different people are doing different things. Is it an age thing? Is it where you don't want your kids to learn it too young, but you might need to learn it maybe later on in their lives, in their teenage life maybe, or is it that you just don't want them to learn it at all, and you feel like promoting it in primary school is wrong, and maybe in some cases immoral? Where do you stand? That's what I would like to know. You can email me at gmthelifecoach336@gmail.com. That's gmthelifecoach336@gmail.com. Okay. If you are somebody who is suffering from coming out, maybe you came out to your parents or your friends or whatever, and it's something that's weighing on your shoulders, or you're thinking of coming out and it's weighing on your shoulders, you can talk to GM the Life Coach. That's myself, and you can log into the website. That's gmthelifecoach.business.site, and there's free consultation on there as well, so you can get up to 45 minutes free. We don't have to pay for anything, and just talk to me, and we can talk about ways of moving forward. And then hopefully we can, if we still need my help or you still want to talk, then we can move to more sessions. Rates do apply, so we check the rates on there, and also we can be flexible with those rates as well. But once again, the website is gmthelifecoach.business.site. Okay, and you can email me on gmthelifecoach336@gmail.com. Thanks, guys, for listening. It's a worthwhile debate. If you want to come back on to me about this debate, just email me, and we can maybe meet up. We can maybe just have a debate about it, maybe just talk about it, and get your opinions on the podcast. All right. But once again, be great, look after each other, and keep listening. There's more great stuff coming. Peace.